In the heart of a bustling West African city, where modern skyscrapers cast long shadows over traditional marketplaces, lived a woman named Zara Mensah. Though her bank accounts held billions, she moved through the world with the quiet humility of one who understood that true wealth resided not in possessions, but in character. Zara had lost her parents in a tragic accident when she was 22, inheriting their vast business empire that spanned across 3 continents. But having been raised on her grandmother's wisdom rather than her parents' wealth, she chose to live simply, managing her empire from the shadows. A true leader walks among the people, not above them, her grandmother used to say, and these words became Zara's creed. On a warm Sunday afternoon, while volunteering at a community centre in her childhood neighbourhood, Zara met Kofi Adetunji. He was a schoolteacher with calloused hands from the woodworking he did on weekends to supplement his modest income. His laugh came easily, and his eyes held the same kindness that Zara valued above all else. "You work harder than anyone I've ever seen," Kofi remarked one day, watching Zara teach elderly women how to read. "Yet you always have time to listen to old Mama Ado's stories." Zara smiled. "My grandmother taught me that every elder's story is a library of wisdom waiting to be discovered." Their courtship was simple: evening walks through the neighbourhood, shared meals at local food stalls, and heartfelt conversations under the ancient baobab tree in the community square. Kofi spoke of his dreams to build a school someday, unaware that the woman beside him could fund 1,000 schools without blinking. For Zara, Kofi represented everything money couldn't buy: integrity, compassion, and a heart untainted by greed. And so, when he proposed marriage with a modest ring he had saved for months to buy, she accepted with tears of joy, keeping her secret still. "I don't have much to offer you," Kofi said, his voice thick with emotion. "But I promise to work hard every day to give you the life you deserve." Zara took his hands in hers. "The richest person is not the one who has the most, but the one who needs the least," she quoted, an old proverb her grandmother favoured. Their wedding was held in the community centre where they first met, decorated with colourful cloths and wildflowers, filled with the rhythmic beats of traditional drums and the joyous ululations of the village women. Zara wore a dress of hand-woven kente cloth that had belonged to her mother, adorned only with a simple gold necklace that had been her grandmother's. It was there that Zara first met Kofi's family. His mother, Madame Yah, was a formidable woman whose eyes narrowed as she assessed Zara's simple attire. His sisters, Abena and Korkor, whispered behind their hands as they circled Zara like vultures, eyeing their prey. "So," Madame Yah said during the reception, her voice carrying over the music, "I hear you work at the community centre. A cleaner, is it?" Before Zara could correct her, Kofi interjected proudly, "Zara teaches there, mother, and she's the hardest worker I know." Madame Yah's smile didn't reach her eyes. "How commendable. In our family we value hard work above all. You'll find plenty of opportunity for that with us." As tradition dictated, and as Zara had agreed to honour Kofi's wishes, they would live in the family compound until they could afford their own home. That night, as they entered the modest but well-kept family house, Zara noticed how Kofi's sisters had already claimed the best rooms, leaving them with the smallest chamber at the end of the hall. "It's not much," Kofi whispered apologetically, "but I promise I'll work hard to build us our own home soon." Zara kissed him gently. "Home is wherever we are together," she said, even as she signed a document on her tablet approving the acquisition of a tech company worth millions, while he showered. The first week revealed the pattern that would come, to define Zara's days. Before dawn, Madame Yah's voice would ring through the house. "Zara, the water must be fetched before the morning rush." While Kofi prepared for his teaching day, Zara would carry heavy buckets from the community well, despite the fact that she could have installed modern plumbing with a single phone call. She cooked, cleaned, and tended to the household, while her sisters-in-law lounged in the shade, criticizing her efforts. "The fufu is too soft," Abena would complain. "Did you not learn how to properly sweep in your home?" Korkor would ask, deliberately spilling dirt where Zara had just cleaned. Each night Kofi would return exhausted, his eyes missing the subtle signs of his wife's fatigue and the calluses forming on her once smooth hands. He would kiss her forehead and tell her about his day, while she listened and supported, never burdening him with complaints. During rare private moments, Zara would make discreet calls to her financial advisors, managing her empire from the shadows. "Yes, proceed with the hospital project in Accra," she would whisper, "but ensure our name stays out of the press coverage." By the end of the first month, Zara's day began at 4 a.m. and ended well past midnight. Still, she endured, remembering her grandmother's words. Patience is not just waiting, but how one behaves while waiting. The breaking point came on a sweltering afternoon as Zara returned from the market, arms laden with heavy bags. Madame Yar called a family meeting, her face stern as she addressed everyone in the living room. "The rainy season approaches, and our roof needs repairs," she announced. "Since Kofi's salary barely covers our food, and since we have so generously welcomed his wife into our home, it is only fair that Zara should contribute financially as well." Zara looked to Kofi, whose face showed conflict but not disagreement. "Mother," he began hesitantly, "Zara already does so much for the household." "And what of it?" Madame Yar interrupted. "Is she not part of this family now? From tomorrow, Zara will find additional work to help support us all. After all, what else does she bring to this family?" As the words hung in the air like a thundercloud, Zara felt the weight of her secret pressing down on her. With a single word, she could end their financial worries forever. But would Kofi's love survive such a revelation? Would he see it as a betrayal that she had hidden her true self from him? Night fell, and as Kofi slept beside her, Zara stared at the ceiling, tears silently tracing paths down her temples. The choice before her was clear, yet impossible. Continue this charade at the cost of her dignity, or reveal her truth and potentially lose the one person who had loved her for herself alone. The rooster's crow found Zara already awake, her mind made up. She would find a balance, taking on extra work as expected, while continuing to manage her empire in secret. This was a test of character, she decided, an opportunity to prove to herself the values her grandmother had instilled in her. As weeks passed, Zara began working at a local shop in the afternoons after finishing her household chores. Her in-laws took her new income for granted, while adding more tasks to her already burdensome list of responsibilities. One evening, as she scrubbed the floors while Abena and Korkor watched television, her childhood friend Amara paid a visit. Amara's eyes widened at the sight of the billionaire CEO on her hands and knees. "What madness is this?" Amara whispered when they had a moment alone. "You could buy this entire neighborhood with what you spend on coffee in a month." Zara sighed. "I love him, Amara. I need to know he loves me for who I am, not what I own. And this?"